teachers of Reddit, what are some of the weirdest things you've confiscated from a student? A vitamin B12 vape pen. Didn't know they existed. A homemade arrow made with a pencil and a modified razor blade. A sugar glider. Kept hearing a high-pitched squeak in class. Noticed she had a small animal in her jacket pocket when it decided to poke its head out. A student brought one of these to my class. I teach college, so that was fine, and I was super excited and she let me hold it. The students were busy doing some group work, and when they were just about done I went to hand it back to her. It then proceeded to leap down the front of my shirt and attach itself to my bra. So now I'm supposed to be lecturing again, but this girl's sugar glider is not only sitting in my cleavage, but running around under my shirt. More than half the class had no idea why I was distracted, or why I shoved my hand down between my boobs until I finally got the little guy out. Not confiscated, but actually given as a gift. A bag of her hair. A bag of every strand of hair she's had cut since birth. She was definitely the weirdest thing I've ever received as a gift. She was so excited about it, too. I knew the mom well, so I messaged her asking if she had meant to give that to me. Apparently, she had stolen it from her keepsake box. I happily returned it. Not gagging over it was the hardest thing ever, especially because I was newly pregnant and had awful morning sickness. I can only imagine. How old was the kid, out of curiosity? After a certain age this gets into the really weird territory, huh? 2nd grade, so 7 or 8 years old. Okay, that makes a little more sense. Her mom probably put a lot of value on the items in her keepsake box and the kid wanted to give her teacher something that meant a lot. What better than something from the keepsake box? Kid probably didn't even realize at the time how creepy it was. My father took a cleaver off a student. My dad was doing lunch duty and saw the kid open his jacket and motion his budders to have a look. Turns out there was going to be a fight after school. My dad knew the kid and asked him to step into the hallway. He got the cleaver off the kid and took him to the office. I'm not sure what his punishment was, but pre-Columbine, so who knows. In 7th grade I accidentally brought a hunting knife to school. I'd been playing with it at home, flipping it and trying to catch it by the handle. I was doing this while it was fastened in a sheath, so no danger or anything. Well, I missed and dropped it. Couldn't find where it went and figured I'd just find it later. Well, I forgot about it. Fast forward about a week. It's the end of the day and I'm cleaning out my backpack at school. Found the knife at the bottom of the bag. Yeah, I'd been carrying the thing to and from school for a week and didn't know. I just shoved it back into the bag before anyone saw and then took it out once I got home. So lucky I didn't get caught with it. Not a teacher, but a kid brought a human skull to school. I think the teacher just had a conversation with him about it. The naked lady booby lighter. Kid was 7th or 8th grade in an alternative school setting. He was always sneaking stuff in his pockets and getting it taken up. We are walking to lunch and my assistant stops suddenly. He comes back with a metal naked woman torso in his hand. You could press one boob and the flame came out of the other. It was fantastic. It was super popular in the office for the few days until mom came to pick it up. She was really glad to get family heirloom back. When I was in junior high, 7th and 8th grade, I sold the naked lady booby ink pen. While you're writing, she had clothes on, but turn it upside down and her clothes would come off. I could buy a box of a dozen for $2 and I was selling them for $1 each. Made a mint. In music class this kid Oliver pulls out a Matchbox car and starts playing. Teacher takes it, turn around, places it on piano, turns back, he's already gotten the next one out of his pocket and it back to playing, so she took it again, rinse repeat. Funniest heck ever to an 8-year-old. We laughed so fucking hard. Camp counselor here. We have permission to go through bags to confiscate prohibited items like food and electronics and knives. One girl had a Tupperware full of what looked like the oldest peanut butter imaginable smeared all over the Tupperware. I brought it to my co-workers, and we all tried to smell it, but it smelled different to all of us. Literally no clue what this shit was. Asked the girl about it one day and she goes, that's my plant, like it's obvious. Apparently it was some kind of fungus or algae to apply to sunburns. Edit, it's in the woods. They can't keep food on them because of bears and other wildlife. We aren't starving them, I promise. A bottle of passion fruit lube brought in by a 4-year-old, making all her friends smell her fruity hand cream. Poor mama must have had a long night and mixed up her eczema cream. A brick decorated with hentai in the locker of a 14-year-old boy. He was very different, that kid. Not a confiscation, but when my 4-5-year-olds were getting changed for PE, a little girl opened her bag and out fell a bunch of very sexy lingerie. 10 minutes later at the window I have a very red mum with the correct kit in hand saying she mixed up the dry cleaning with the daughter's PE kit. I pretended I hadn't seen. Burner said it. When I asked him why he brought it in, he said for the skulls of my enemies. He didn't have friends, but not because he was odd. Even the odd kids hated his guts, but because he was horrible and obnoxious to everyone. Worked on his social skills with him for a long time and allowed him to run a manga club in my classroom Friday lunch times. Whilst I was in there, he made friends in the end and had a much nicer life since that club. He's a happy 18-year-old now with a girlfriend and kid. Having a kid at 16 was the normal in the deprived area, so him having a family, his own place and a job he enjoys is good. He messages me on Facebook every now and then to check in and tell me how his life is, just because that's not happiness to some of you. Please do not shit on his. When I was in school, my English teacher confiscated 50 Shades of Grey off another pupil during our silent reading time. We would have been in year 7 or 8 at the time. My classmate, who was the dumbest class clown, tried to kick off about it and asked the teacher why it being taken away, and the teacher calmly said, "I'm not letting you read that, it's terribly written. It's as if it's been written by someone on a train." Similar thing occurred in my year 9 English class. Girl came in and started reading 50 Shades for silent reading. My teacher noticed and straight up said, "Emma, you can sit outside and read that." Emma then argues why, and teacher responds, "I wouldn't wipe my ass with that book, let alone allow that poorly written filth into my class." Emma ended up reading it on the front step of the classroom, in the heat of Australian summer. She sure had tenacity, I'll give her that. That English teacher was hilarious, and a great teacher as well. I had to confiscate a 7th grader's iPad because he was looking up anime girl body pillows. Somewhat related, my wife got a kid banned from Chromebooks in school because he was trying to look at porn on them, but he was in middle school so he was really bad at it. So like, she saw him looking at inappropriate pictures and he said it was an accident, so she went into the search history. It was image search for girls, hot girls underwear, hot girls 6, hot girls sex.